everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I am going to get started putting in my first round of cool season vegetables into the garden. Now it can be quite counterintuitive because, in case you can't tell, it's really hot here in the middle of August in central North Carolina, Zone 7. In fact, it feels completely insane to even be thinking about cool season crops on a day like today, where honestly you can't even imagine that it'll ever cool down again. But now is the time, and I want to get these planted so that I can sow another round. And this all goes back to succession planting, to be able to extend your harvest for a longer period of time and make it so that you don't have all of these vegetables ripe at once. And then, like, what do you do with 50 heads of cabbage at one time? You want to, do small batches over many weeks or even months, particularly here in the Southeast, where we can grow essentially 12 months out of the year. So today I'm going to get these planted in areas, first and foremost, that are convenient for watering, because we're really hot, we're really dry. And I also am going to put them in areas with part sun. And that's simply because we are just still too hot and too sunny for these to go out into full exposure. Come, October, certainly into November, December, that's when I can plant my winter vegetables or my cool season crops in full exposure. But you cannot do that here in Zone 7 in the middle of August. Our sun is just too intense. Now, you might notice these look really terrible, and that's because I have not kept up with applying BT. This is Bacillus thuringiensis. This is a biological, organic rated natural pesticide that impacts chewing caterpillars, very specifically the cabbage worms, of which I have two species. I have the traditional green ones, also known as cabbage loopers, and then I have the cross-striped cabbage worm, which are actually more, they cause more damage because they have much larger populations. So these look terrible. I expect that I will certainly lose some of these just for the sheer fact that they can hardly photosynthesize because the caterpillars have eaten so much of their foliage. But I'm going to get these treated with BT once I get them planted and watered in the ground. Remember, every time it rains, you have to reapply this powder BT. So that's really what's happened here. I just didn't keep up with it with recent thunderstorms. But let's head on out to the garden and find some spots to plant the broccoli, snowball cauliflower, and early purple kohlrabi that I sowed way back when on the 19th of July. All right, I'm gonna start with the kohlrabi. These look the least damaged. And I'm just gonna plant them here in this area kind of right along the walkway. Got a hose just like a few inches away. And I'm already watering the adjacent hydrangea on a daily basis, so I'll be able to keep this area moist enough. And this does get morning sun, so this gets like bright exposure until around like noon, which I think will be perfect for these cool season crops. So obviously the planting process is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to, get these out of these cell packs. They're not super well rooted, but they're rooted well enough. I'm just gonna pop them in and plant them in mass. Get them watered and then dusted with BT. So as you can see, I'm being So it got so hot this afternoon that my phone died like 4 times from the heat. So I went ahead and planted and watered everything in and then put out a really heavy dose of BT. As you can see here, this is the cauliflower in this 100-gallon root pouch. And let me show you where I have planted the other things. So we have the edge of broccoli here. This was really damaged, so we'll see how many actually live. And then where I started, the kohlrabi along this edge. And here in the greenhouse, you can see I've gotten my second round of brassica seedlings. So this includes, I've got broccoli, kohlrabi, turnips. I have a lot of broccoli, like 4 different varieties of broccoli. So I'm hoping that this will help prevent those cabbage worms, both species, from getting in here and destroying these. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to be buying plugs from greenhouse grown where they have, you know, better environmental controls. And that's what I often do. For many years now, I've bought the Bonnie Organics from Home Depot and I've had really great harvests. But since I've been home, I wanted to, you know, do more seeding myself. But obviously, I don't know, this happens to me every year. So maybe if I was more on top of BTing, or maybe if I did these under, you know, rows, like having the white mesh material to prevent the moths from going in and laying the eggs, which become the worms. But you know what? This is just a good example that if you can't keep up with it, don't feel bad, neither can I. And that's why the industry exists. That's why you can buy plants from garden centers. And, you know, nothing wrong with plant shopping. It's my favorite thing to do. So anyhow, I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Be sure to hit that bell notification so you'll know when I post more gardening videos. And I appreciate you watching so much. Thanks, everybody.